Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Logify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Hey everyone, I was hoping to get this message put together sooner, but things like this unfortunately take time to set up. I just want to say that the acts of war against Ukraine break my heart, and I know as a prior service member myself that my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone who's fighting the fight that they really shouldn't have to. That being said, we have been working behind the scenes with all of our podcasts and podcast partners to put a fund together in order to pay for any refugee housing and other needs that go alongside that, like food, water, and any clothing needs. Internally, many podcasts in the Hospitality FM network have voluntarily given up sponsorship money in order to donate to the cause and are working on a unified message in order to spread throughout all of our podcasts. So this is me calling out to all of our property manager friends, industry experts, and anyone knowing of those providing lodging for Ukrainian refugees seeking safety. You can contact me directly at will with one L, WIL at slicktalkmedia.com. We have an internal document that is being updated in real time. So if anyone could share this message within your network, we'd greatly appreciate it. I'm also placing in the show notes a link to our GoFundMe and landing page for Rentals to Rescue. That's rentalstorescue.com, where we're putting funds together in order to, again, provide finances for any of these lodging and relocation needs. So thank you so much for tuning into this quick message. I hope you guys are all well and safe, as I know we have tons of listeners in Ukraine and other countries in Europe. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Good morning.
Morning.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good evening to all of our listeners out there in the world. Man, this is a crazy episode to do, just from the perspective of what we had lined up last week originally. Then, of course, a few changes happened, and now we're here to talk about Ukraine and the events happening around the world involving Russia attacking Ukraine and all this other good, other stuff. So how are you guys doing this week? What's going on?
It's crazy, right? Of course, we have a large team in Poland, which is a neighbor country, of course, of Ukraine. We have employees located in Ukraine, which are actually still there with their families. So it's a strange situation, right? It's like, you can see a lot of what is amazing to see is the support, what a lot of people doesn't hear, and a lot of people just actually also, if you look at my daughter's class, 5 of her classmates are Ukrainian, right? So their family comes over, or they have family there. So it's sometimes you just you're busy constantly with your company and everything, and sometimes you just like, okay, this is actually maybe take a this morning we had a team meeting just to discuss it, right? We didn't talk about business, we just talked about the situation, what was I think needed for the company. So it is what it is, but it is like, again, I think a big shout out and amazing thank you to everybody who's supporting. I think that's the thing we can do. If you see the hospitality in general, I'm not talking about only about hotels or offering the rooms, which had a tough 2 years, but also like the people just bringing this support, and I think that's amazing to see. And I think what I want to share, and then I think give the word to Michael, isn't it this? What is this? How people are united now, right? I think all together you can say we're doing it together. You see all countries, even though they're not part of NATO, there's support from all over the world now in the way they can support. And let's see indeed that let's hope that things will change positively, like soon. That the Russian people realize that actually they just have to change, and they should make a change there in following this I don't even want to give a guy a name. I think there's no sense to name this guy because it's something, in my opinion, is not a person, not a human.
Yeah, it's and that's what we're going to be doing on the show today, just talking about things that we've seen and heard and read about. Nothing directly related to hospitality, but important for us to bounce ideas or thoughts off of one another. Ross being, right in the backyard of stuff that's going on. Ukraine, a lot of people have tech developers in the Ukraine. We use a couple third parties for various services, and they're in the Ukraine. So thoughts and prayers for all those people. And Ukraine's one of those places I've always wanted to go. I've spent a lot of time in Eastern Europe, and the last time I was scheduled to go was 2014 when Putin invaded Crimea. So we ended up not going at that point, and then it's been kind of touch and go for a while. So haven't made it over there, but I've had friends that have gone, heard amazing things about it. Lots of fun, lots to do, growing economy. And I think one of the key topics today is the growing leadership that we're seeing out of Ukraine. And it's embarrassing to every other world leader compared to how Zelensky has handled this. I don't know if I've ever seen a world leader roll up his tie and put on fatigues and grab a gun.
It's amazing. And I think they're all there, right? You can see with him, it's amazing when somebody, I think the story is he was a clown, and actually there's only one clown now out there, right? Which is on the other side. Yeah. And I think if you see his leadership, indeed, it's okay, we're just standing there. You can see, of course, the brothers Klitschko, the mayor of Kiev, and his brother. I met actually Vladimir Klitschko 2 years ago with a nice chat. And it's impressive. It's okay, no, even though they're millionaires or they're just, we're standing for the country. You see football clubs, Dynamo Kiev, like all the full squad, the full team, we're fighting against for our freedom. And that's I think real. That's really leadership what you see, and I think it's
there's
really
people. Lomachenko just went back to Ukraine to fight. He wasn't even in the Ukraine. So you've got millionaires that have hit the peak of their, ability or of their skill, and they're rolling that up and going. It's a bit reminiscent of, I don't know if you know who he is, Ross, but Joe DiMaggio quit playing baseball during World War II to sign up and go. He didn't have to, but it's stories like that and people like that remind the world, name calling and all this stuff that's been going on the past 10 years doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I think you see indeed because of his message and how strong the leadership is, he just have all people just supporting him and just say, we are stronger than this. Right? And that's really, really impressive to see. And I think it starts from a leader, because I think the Americans, thank you for your help. They want to just, they say, okay, we can pick you up and put you in safety. When he said, no, I want to stay here and fight for my country.
Was the best response, I think, as like anyone from our industry, from my personal background in the military, like just hearing his response from the U.S. saying, "Hey, we'll come rescue you guys out of Kiev," and he's like, "No, don't come and rescue us. Send us ammo. That's what we need."
Yeah,
and I mean, I want to flag that it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be a terrible thing if he tried to get out and tried to organize the country from a safe place. There's no shame in that. That's what many leaders do. And I mean, it's literally his life on the line.
But it's everybody's life. And I think it was such a strong message that I think the message was super strong. I think if he would leave, more people will leave. And you see the numbers of people who left actually Ukraine, it's still small, right? If you look at the total population, and the majority is, of course, is women and children. And I fully understand that they have to leave as soon as possible to put them in safety. But indeed, the guys, okay, they all staying as okay, we just do everything. And I spoke with some people as well, which we comes from there, and they're just their strength and their motivation just to go through this and actually, well, I don't want to say beat this war, because I don't think it's the right wording, but it's okay in that case just to keep our freedom. I think it's so strong, and that's why they're doing. If you see the army forces of the Russian and the Ukrainians, you can't even compare, right? It's but if you see how strong they are, amazing. Really like impressive, and something I'll never get, and it's like really impressive to see.
Yeah, and it definitely isn't going as the Russians were expecting. They're running out of gas, and farmers are towing these tanks various places. Like there's some wild stories coming out when there's a grandma walking up to a soldier that gives him sunflower seeds and says, "I hope when you lie down, these flowers are going to bloom." I saw it. Yeah, crazy. But I mean, people. It's a bunch of people fighting a war that they probably don't understand against a bunch of people fighting a war that they very clearly understand. And there's a big difference. You see it in sports. The underdog always plays harder than the top tier team. They might not always win, but they always give better effort. And we're certainly seeing that out of Ukraine, and who knows what happens at the end of the day, but are definitely seeing the better effort and the more passion and the more, and I don't know if that's going to go away. Like even if Russia occupies, there's going to be a lot of Ukrainians planning various attacks that are just going to be a thorn in their side for as long as they stay. So who knows? I'm not a political strategist or a military guy by any means, but I think the Russians are in for a long road ahead of them.
Yeah.
Well, I think my opinion is the what is happening now is there's more and more the distancing from everything what's connected to Russia, right? And just to impact the people which are influential, or if you're an oligarch or you just have indeed the funds, and there you're in normally supporting team to. Well, I'm not going to mention his name, but it's okay. We're on the other side. Is okay. We are now impacted. So I really hope that actually everybody realizes, look, we're not going to support him anymore. We're just actually taking a distance from it, and actually, so this is the only way we could actually save our own country and our own business, right? If you see the sponsorships of football clubs with Russian companies, they're all cancelled. You can see Chelsea, they just stopped the kicked out Abramovich, and I think he will never get his 2 billion back, because they don't give any fuck about them. And which is actually, this is, I think, the only thing what they can do. There's no sense just to attack Russia now in any kind of form. The only thing that what they do now is, well, show the support. Like, you're not going to win this war. I think that's, and then hopefully they're realizing, right? If you see from every angle with Musk with putting a satellite up in the air, you can see the hackers group just take the government websites down from the Russian, blocking them from international bank transfers and everything. So they're impacted. Eventually, every day they're continuing with this war. It's make their own life more tough and difficult, also of the whole nation of Russia.
Yeah, and the innocent people in Russia are also paying the price too. It's 6,000 people have been arrested for protesting, knowing they're going to be arrested, but they still go and do it. So it's a no-win situation with a guy that has done this before, but not to this scale, and not to this type of uniting the world against him. So I think it's a big strategic error for him. And kudos to all of the organizations that have cut ties. I know one who hasn't, and it's probably the most corrupt organization out there with FIFA. So I'm sure enough pressure will be applied that they will end it eventually, but true colors.
Well, the Polish team will not even play against them. They have to play again. Polish team has to play against Russia next month.
And all the teams.
So we're not going to play against them. Not even a question. So
in every sport, every team has said that, but FIFA still won't ban them. IOC banned Russia today from competing in any sanctioned events. The World Hockey whatever federation blocked Russia from participating in the championships this year. Everybody but FIFA. So,
well, I think we all knew that they were corrupt anyway. I think it was pretty obvious, but it seems to be now even be confirmed again.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a ton of organizations out there that are doing a lot of support. So anyone who's watching live or even listening afterwards, there is a link here in this chat I put in there. It's a relocation doc. I just know that we're a little off topic, but relocation doc in the sense of people from around the world, big CEOs, founders, different countries, different leadership positions are putting this live document together in order to help anybody who knows anyone in Ukraine or involved in the situation to get relocated, to find resources, to safest routes, all this stuff. It's pretty impressive to see how many people are online looking at it and making changes and giving live data outside of the news. So just one thing to know, if you know anybody or who might need this document, it's a really good resource to have. And I think it just goes to show, again, the community aspect. Like the topic of today's episode is really, like, it's not that hard to tell the difference between good and bad leadership, as we can see, Zelensky, who's staying to fight. And then you have, Putin, who's just being a tyrant and has no reason for a real situation like this. My sense, he's just bored and stupid. So it's just crazy to see that this is an act of, of violence against human rights, human race, and for no apparent reason. So I'm glad that there's this document that I can keep looking at throughout the day. It helps me just kind of like see what people are doing and what kind of news and resources are out there. So that's just kind of something I've been watching lately outside of just the news, which can be, as we all know, very one-sided, one direction, one comment throughout 30 minutes of news. So yeah.
Well, I guess probably a lot of people now like wondering when is the start of the week coming. They know the jingle is coming and everything. So I think a lot of people waiting, and when is the start of the week, because it probably is their favorite segment. So probably for the people who are just waiting for it, I just want, in this case, we don't have a specific segment or startup. I want to just say to supporting. Thank you. I want to support actually all the startups, of course, all people, but especially also other startups who now have, of course, difficulties to do any business because they're just blocking everything. So big shout out and really support to all the startups and everybody, and especially, of course, the hospitality startup, everybody in hospitality in Ukraine. So support there. And in my opinion, the startup of the week is all startups in Ukraine.
Totally. That's really all I have in the sense of, I don't know. I just, at the end of the day, like, we just have to continue to band together. I think if, more organizations, more industries, more world leaders come together and say, no, this isn't right, we're against this, put stricter sanctions on Russia, all that stuff. I think we need to just keep that fight up, and I think it will end in a good favor. But I don't know. Any other closing comments for you guys? I know we're not going to meet our whole 30-minute episode, but just figured let you guys give a closing comment.
No, I just want to share only the support for everybody who's helping. Also, I think a big thank you to everybody, even outside the Ukraine, everybody in different countries, all the European or also world leaders, actually, so where we can support. We do our support. So if you see the same in Berlin, 500,000 people, and you see in Amsterdam, you see everywhere people just supporting. So I think also, a big actually thank you to all people who are supporting, because I think it only gave a lot of strength actually to the people in Ukraine that the whole world is actually behind them and supporting them. So
100%.
Yeah, well said. I'll leave it at that. It's another trying time in front of the past couple years that have been trying times, but in this one, the world is coming together, standing up to it. I wish we would stand up to it more, to be quite blunt, but geopolitics is not my area of expertise. So Thoughts and prayers to all the families in the Ukraine, all the men left behind fighting. Good luck.
Yeah. And let's hope next week in our next week episode, we have things are getting better.
Mm-hmm. And I'll make sure. So we've had actually quite a few live listeners show up today. So I'll make sure that we put the link in the show notes so that way everyone can, any type of resources and stuff like that, articles that we've been talking about will be posted, and you guys can follow along that way. And we'll have more news coming out. I know there's an organization putting together a fund for lodging for refugees, not just the Airbnb. We're going to free house and lodge 100,000 refugees through that are coming through Ukraine. So I'll put more details together for that. I know we're getting HFM and everyone here involved as well. So more details to come in support and how you can kind of back up the Ukrainian people. So I think that's it for this week.
Yep. Guys, see you next.
Smart locks, smart thermostats, automation, and a solution for any hotel and vacation rental company. Our show partners at Operto are the leading solution for operators to enhance their operations by integrating with your property management software and making sure that all your smart devices create a contactless guest experience while streamlining your operations. So don't forget to check them out on their website, send me a message, or just let them know that we'll send you and you are in good hands. So get ready to enjoy another episode of Slick Talk the Hospitality Podcast, and check out operto.com or go to the podcast website and see our partners page.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.